it's thrilling. It's fun. It's fantastic because we have a great tradition in films, golden ages, several, but no Oscars. So this feels really great, you know. And I hope it encourages the world to look at Polish cinema again, and the Polish filmmakers to take risks and do their own thing and do something that's a bit, you know, original and brave. So I hope this is an encouragement.
We're going to 259 and then 81.
Hi. You've spent a lot of your career abroad in Britain. Why did you decide to return to your native country to make this movie when most of your films so far have been British?
Because, well, I lived in Britain, so, you know, that's where I made films. But I've reached an age where I'm more and more interested in I'm sort of more and more confused about the world as it is, and I don't know what to do with it, you know, dramatically speaking, in terms of films. And I felt like returning to Poland, but also to return to the 60s. You know, it wasn't just Poland, it was a return to a period which I found very interesting, powerful, full of possibilities and stories, and you know, the period that's my childhood. So it was a little bit of a nostalgia trip as well, this film. Yeah, and it's something to do with age, you know, you start going back in time when you get into your 50s.
We're going to 81 and then 65.
Congratulations over here, right here. David from Israel, with your 10th nomination for Poland, you now won. Now Israel is the one with 10 nominations and no win. Yet we really struck a chord with your movie because it deals with the Holocaust and it relates to the Jewish people. Was that a consideration, dealing with that aspect of post-World War II Poland?
It was one of the things, but I didn't want to deal with the issue of Polish-Jewish relations. I wanted to tell a story that's universal about very specific, complex characters, you know? So I didn't think, oh, this is a, you know, story about the Holocaust. It's not a Holocaust movie, as they call it in the States. And it's not a genre film at all, in fact. Maybe it's a road movie, if anything. But it's, it's got many layers, you know? And of course, you know, the Polish-Jewish relations are difficult, interesting, and you know, complicated. But for me, the film is very Polish, you know. And the two characters, the lead characters, Ida, Wanda, who are Jewish, but for me, they're Polish, you know. I don't say, you know, I don't like people who attack the film from, you know, various sides. They said, oh, it's about Jews and Poles and stuff. For me, it's about different versions of Polishness, you know. So. But it wasn't about that. You know, the film is about all sorts of things. It's about, you know, faith, identity, sense of guilt, about Stalinism too, about, you know, lost ideals. And it's about jazz and rock and roll as well, you know. I wouldn't make a film for like one reason, you know. There were many things that came together which I felt, you know, added up to a film.
65, and then we'll end it with 57.
Frank Fastner, RTL Television Germany, right here. I have the feeling you weren't finished with your thank you speech. That would be the chance to continue.
I know.
I mean, how was that feeling? I mean, how brave you were, you know, you didn't get stopped by the music. They didn't stop you. So what went through your mind when you were up there? And
I was thinking about my kids who are watching, you know, hopefully they're watching. You know, and you know, and so what I wanted to say is that this is great and wonderful, but my kids are the most important thing in life, and that's my main prize. You know, I was about to say this kitsch thing which the Americans would have loved, and which I meant, but I never got round to it, and maybe just as well. Yeah.
And we'll end it right here at 51.
Hi, and speaking of your acceptance speech, you gave a couple of shout-outs to your crew back in Poland,
yeah,
and their celebratory drinking, but talk a little bit about their contributions more specifically to the film.
Well, there are so many of them, you know, but there was a great, like a spirit on the set, because they realized that we're making some kind of weird film that's not like their usual kind of industrial film. And it so happened that I had like a bunch of really interesting characters, you know? They were like really strong, eccentric, fun characters, you know? And they had funny names, like just nicknames like Grzała, you know, which means water heater or something. And they were really generous, you know? They loved, they kind of went, they were not just professionals, they were professional, but they really went beyond the call of duty, and they carried us and the film, and they felt something good was being made. But of course, you know, I had a wonderful DP who was like a debutante, you know, he kind of, you know, the DP I started out with dropped out, and this guy who was, you know, just a camera operator who happened to be available, and nobody, you know, whoever I rang wasn't free. to take over. So like, you know, the camera operator took over, and he was fantastic. He was, you know, a brilliant DP with good energy, and, you know, we could take risks together. I had a wonderful producer, Ewa Puszczyńska, who I unfortunately didn't mention. I feel really bad, because she was the one who was in the trenches, you know, protecting my back and allowing me to change things. You know, she was joking that I'm writing the script with the camera, because I kept rewriting everything all the time, and just kind of finding the film. So, you know, there's like a lot of really generous, strong people, and yeah. And also, these people like really represented what I love about Poland. You know, like the spirit of improvisation, of you know, like the more difficult, the better. And suddenly, you know, people rise up to the occasion, like an insurgent spirit. You know, and it was great, and it really helped me, because the film was difficult in difficult conditions and didn't make much sense either.